Hey, thank you guys and welcome back. This is another episode of UCF X's and O's. Today we are looking back at the UCF versus West Virginia game that happened this past weekend. Final box score, West Virginia 41, UCF 28. Defensively, one of the things that I think is still encouraging, and has been all year, is Corey Thornton, Brandon Adams on the edges. Man-on-man, wide receiver. They've done a very good job of locking him down. They've done a very good job of limiting the damage. I know that we had bad call, obviously, against West Virginia, but they have done a nice job for if we're looking for positives, is being able to help us shut down outside receivers. And then Nakai again in the middle, deep third, he's done a very good job as well. Underneath is where they started to hit us. They started to hit us on some of the screen game, and then they started to hit us with some of the boot action, the roll action, and they were hitting some of the tight end slider underneath. Or if we were playing a zone, they were able to find some of those open spots because our rush wasn't really getting to the quarterback at all. So, again, man, we've been good all year. It's the zone that's been, a little bit hurting us. And then a few of the young guys in the slots, they got out leveraged on a few plays, but that really wasn't ultimately what hurt us on defense. What was hurting us on defense is inability to stop the run. West Virginia, anytime they needed to pick up yards on the ground, they were able to. They didn't really run into any issues as far as needing those yards in the crunch time. Now, ultimately, we were able to force turnover, and we were able to force a few punts out of them, but offensively, then we weren't able to capitalize. We were not playing great complementary football, and I think that was ultimately the biggest issue, is the turnovers, right? So we knew that they were scoring, we scored, they scored, we scored. We knew that the game was going to start to go that way, and as soon as we got that turnover, as soon as we forced that punt, the ball just went straight back to them. And having 4 turnovers going into the fourth quarter is not a winning business model for anybody. So, again, like we've done in the past, we're going to take a look at some offense, and we're going to take a look at some defense, and then we're going to just try to see some of the good plays, some of the positive plays, and then some of the things that potentially could have changed. But, yeah, having those turnovers really hurt us. West Virginia actually had 2 more fumbles. They had one on the screen and one on a sack fumble, and we weren't able to get any of that. We were only able to sack the quarterback one time. He was mobile quarterback. He was getting to the edges, and then he was able to tuck it and run it when he needed to. But, now we have Cincinnati week to look forward to. But right now we're just we're going to take a look at this one. And all right, so one of the things just want to take a look at first is the on the pass defense side. They were hitting a lot of success on the screen and rollout game. But on the rollout and boot, I think that they saw a decent amount of what we were doing with Baylor and how we weren't able to stop that from them either. So they were doing a good job getting to the blind spots, settling into the zone windows. When we were in zone, we were doing not as good. We got free runners going high, middle, and low. He just happens to miss the throw right here. But when we were in man, we were doing a much better job of containing them. That's been kind of the story all year, right? Is our inability to get the stops when we need to get the stops. So that's just something I've noticed this year. When we're playing our best in the pass defense, it's typically when we're playing in man. A lot of the issues that I was seeing was when we were stuck in zone. Now, you can't play man every single play. You can't play zone every single play. But the plays that we were getting out there, for the most part, man was working a little bit better. A few times, again, we got out leveraged by some of the younger guys. And then this is zone. We're doing drop 8 right here. It's a good call on 3rd and 8, obviously, right? You know that pass is coming. So 3rd and 8, middle of the field, drop 8. Sean Peterson ends up getting, I think, his first sack of the season, sack fumble. Unfortunately, we can't capitalize on that. But that's been just kind of the story of the season, is we're trying these different exotic looks. We're giving offenses something to think about. John Walker's dropping into coverage, but obviously just not able to make anything of it. We're taking a look at, we had Brandon. This is a zone match. This is deep third. He ends up kind of getting his hands on. Unfortunately, I don't know if he actually saw the ball, but he was in position. I think similar to last week with Corey Thornton. I think we have an opportunity for an interception, but just weren't able to get it done. this time, low red zone. We're going man out of this. Everybody's locked right now. We do a great job of pushing the pocket, forcing a bad ball, and again, we can't stop it. We can't get the turnover right there when that could have been huge for us. So one of the things we talked about was just position maintenance, and here's one of the plays where 3rd and 9, kind of got to have it down. We're looking in the slot right now. Wide receivers inside the divider. So we're playing man right now. We have inside, we have post safety help. If we're going to funnel him somewhere, funnel him to the inside because that's where we have the post, middle field closed. And then if he starts running an outbreaker, we should be outside and low so then we can stop the outbreaker routes. Where we are right now, we're in a bad spot. He's getting into the blind spot. We should be right here. We should be low shoulder, outside shoulder, because we know that we have the help inside. If he does make that throw, then we have the ability to break on any outbreaking routes, and then we can also help drive and go towards the middle on the inbreakers. And that's one of those things where, when you're on the outside, then you start playing inside leverage because then you don't have quite the same help, but the help was the sideline. So if you see at the bottom corner, does a good job. He's keeping it inside leverage, but then in the slot right here, that's where we're losing our leverage. So do a good job. We're moving the pocket for him. But unfortunately, this is just one of those little things. Again, it's kind of I think it's a younger guy mistake. And it's something that we can get better at, but it's just something right now where, again, it's week 8. We kind of need to know, we kind of need to know exactly where our position maintenance should be on the field. So we got another play coming up to run a drive concept. Again, this is something where they're going close right here, right? So they're going close, and that's kind of, it's not exactly a stack, but it is close like a bunch. So you have the outside going underneath and the inside going on top. So, 1 behind 2, or in this case, it's 2 behind 3. They're running the little P fake with the running back, so that's pulling across. But right here, this is an open throw. We just need to do a little bit better job of getting that sword out initially off the line. We're kind of seeing those guys are probably close for a reason. They're a lot of the times the wide receivers, how they line up or where they line up is going to tell you a lot of the time what kind of routes they're going to be able to run or what kind of routes they can run just from that spacing alone. So that's something where I think just play recognition, study recognition, I think that would definitely be helpful. Again, it's, right now we're inside and on top, then we start losing it, right? He starts getting inside of us, now we're behind it. He starts getting inside, now we're behind it. Drive down on it. So this is the other one I talked about. Looks like we're running a bracket right here on the slot. So Fox Sports, they actually had it, saying, here was the throw, here was the window. Again, the safety's right there in the middle, right? So safety's here. We can't be high and outside. High and outside leads to all those outbreaking throws. We need to be low and outside on those plays. And then if we're inside, then we can be high and inside. But if we're going to be on the outside, it needs to be low and outside right there. This right here was a good job. They're going for the deep shot. First play of the game. We're able to take it vertical, play it deep. That's one of those things I don't think we've gotten beat too many times too deep on the deep throws. The times that we've been getting hurt right now is a lot of the times on these crossers, and I think we're going to continue to be good on the deep ones. I have no reason to believe that we can't stop the deep throw, but it's the underneath stuff that's really been hurting us. So 4th and 2. This is, again, there's still 11 minutes left. You're going to get about 3-4 drives left in this game, especially if you can get off the field, force a field goal or anything right here. This is a tough one right now. So Corey, he has to come all the way across, and he's fighting through traffic. Now, I don't necessarily blame him on this because it's one of those things where if that guy can get all the way across and he can run 30 yards horizontally, that's really, if he's getting across there, a lot of the times things like that is a rush issue, right? It's you can't expect guys to cover every single route for infinite amount of time. The rush needs to do his job getting there as well. That's one of those things. I mean, quarterback, he does a good job, but they're running that slider motion back. I think that froze us a little bit. But we have multiple guys coming back with the slider right now. Watch it again. How many guys right here? 2 with the slider. But we're not forcing this edge right here, leaving it for an open throw. And he does a good job. He initially looked for the slider, and then all of a sudden he decides, I'm going to throw it to the deep drag across. And again, for Corey, this is a very hard play. You're not going to see guys on Sunday able to cover for that long, going all the way across the field like that. So again, I don't necessarily blame him on that. That is one of those things though where rush needs to be able to help out with the rush needs to be able to help out coverage. All right, so now we're taking a look at the run defense. One of the biggest issues probably is, name of the game is inconsistency from us. We were able to make some stops. We were able to force a few punts. We were able to put them in some situations. But reality is that we just weren't doing a good enough job, I think, in the crunch time situations when they were getting into 4th down, 4th and 1 coming up here, or when they get down to the red zone or towards the end of the game. They knew that they were going to go for it. Taking a look at the 4th down, they're in, I think, 13 personnel right here with an extra lineman, right? So they added a 6th lineman right here. They were going really heavy. They're adding gaps. And right now, we're covering the A gaps. We had double A's, but you can see, obviously, there's some open space right here. Draymond starts to crash down, but then he's getting held over. I mean, that is what it is, but we're not doing a good enough job of just sealing everything where we need to. Ultimately, it's leading to corner on the edge. Corners are never going to be your best tacklers. And, you can't expect the corners to be making tackles like that on the edges. Here's what I thought was really tough is in the red zone, we get into these situations and they were seemingly just able to push the pile another 5-6 yards whenever they wanted to. And again, credit to them. They had a good scheme going, a very similar scheme to us, right? They're doing a lot of the motions. They're giving you a lot of the action. And then they're giving you the triple option look right here. Now, I don't think that this is triple. I think that they're running, their version of a little bit of quarterback counter, but they're giving you the illusion. They're giving you the look where you still have to pull, guys to be able to make sure that your pitch sound, or else then they're going to come right back to it. And then again, ultimately, we're just not stopping that pile from going. And they're getting a great push. And, are they bigger? Are they stronger? Maybe. But again, we had our opportunities there. So here's the end zone shot of it. So taking a look, they're pulling the center, and then they're pulling the backside tight end. So kind of pin pull, CT counter, whatever you want to call it. But they're giving you the triple look. They're giving you that fake look, kind of freezing it. Right now, you can see he's just following the tight end. He's following it. He's following it, hitting it inside. Easy touchdown. Here's something I think that just alignment-wise, I don't. Okay, so again, taking a look at that same action, that same, triple option look that they just gave us on the end zone for the touchdown. One of the things I just kind of want to take a note of, and I feel like I've noticed it all year. I don't know necessarily if we're aligning correctly or incorrectly, but they're in 2x2 to start, right? 2 wide receivers up there, and then 2 eligibles down here. We're bumped over. Now we're bumped into the boundary. We have safety down or nickel down. So that's okay. I don't know if we're supposed to be more centered to the box or not. I don't know if we're supposed to be playing 230s. If we're supposed to be playing over the guards or however it is. Normally, say like the Georgias of the world, if they have, an even a balance, then they're going to be even towards the box. If they have something bumped over, like 3x1, they have trips to one side, then they're going to boss it over. Then they're going to go backers over strong. They end up motioning, so now it becomes a little bit unbalanced right here, right? Heavier back set, 21. But the one thing is now, they're running the same action, so we see the indicator. The indicator's going. the center's pulling, and we just start getting really wide on it. So we're taking this side if there was the pitch option. There's not, so we should be falling back. But we just vacated the middle right there. Again, taking a look at it from this angle, I don't necessarily know. We look like we're trying to cover out the pitch man. We look like a linebacker, right? Yates is trying to cover the triple. He's trying to take that. But somebody needs to be taking quarterback, right? If we think that is option, somebody needs to be taking quarterback. I would think that we're okay on the edge, right? When we have the nickel out towards the edge, I would think that we should be okay there. But those are those things where run fits not necessarily being the most sound, or run fits hurting us in the season. Here's actually one of the plays that we did a good job stopping. This is very similar look to what they just had, except they don't have the triple look to it. But they're going to run to the boundary, and they are going to run still the tight end and then center. They're pulling across, make it look like, quarterback counter. Quarterback's doing the fake pitch out to the wing, similar to the JRP goal line touchdown play that we had with Oklahoma. One of the things that we do really good, though, we do a very good job up top, is we're able to vice the two pullers now. Now we're able to go inside and outside, right? Now, I don't know if you're able to see that, but as soon as we get out to the pull, the first one, we were able to dip underneath it. That's spilling it. Now we're trying to send this guy going around. The advantage you have on the defensive side of the ball, more athletic, faster, a little bit more agile. The O-linemen, they're going to be bigger, stronger, but they're not going to be as quick on their feet. So when we dive inside to spill that, now we're sending that guy wider. He's not as comfortable doing that. And then we're able to beat him across the edge, and then from the backside, run it down. So, that's one of the ways that you can stop counter. You can stop counter multiple ways. But, that was just a very good job. And why we're not doing that every single time, I'm not 100% sure. Again, I don't know if it's call dependent or what it is. But I would think that we should be a little bit more consistent with that. And that's been, again, one of those issues. Watch again right here from the end. We're doing a great job. Tremont, he dips underneath it, spills it, and then we're able to come across. Jason's able to vice it inside, outside, slow it down, run it back. Right. Two guys were just able to take on two blockers and make the tackle with the backside help. Very next play, this is kind of the discouraging thing again. They're going 3rd and 7, right? You're thinking it's one of those obvious pass downs. 3rd and 7, same look that they just gave you, except now they're not going to give you the counter look, but they are going to pull back the wing. The wing is going across. He's that slider. He's the end kick out. They're just going zone right here. Zone play, and we're not following what I think probably should be our keys. Again, using kind of the Georgia philosophy, if you have your wing, if you have your slider, you're kind of looking at that front side guard to the wing. Those are your primary indicators, and then you're going to look to back afterwards. So, you see the wing is in the wind back. First of all, actually looking at the backfield set, we kind of call that a slanted set, offset. Wing is opposite. So realistically, what are the runs they're going to have? You might have him seal the edge for outside zone or stretch or whatever. You might have him, continue to climb up for pass, or a lot of the times you're going to have that cross back, that wind back, and that's going to be either QB counter or that's going to be for that outside zone that way. So is it tough? Yes, it's very difficult because you're looking for multiple indicators, but that's one of those things you kind of look at the run tendencies, right? You look at it on film, and then you also see what the guard is doing. Now, you can see the offensive linemen right now. They're blocking zone across. We need to get over. We're taking a false step for whatever reason. We're going back out of the play. And that's something where, again, we read it. We're all right. Just keep going. Keep going right here. Right now, clear window. Clear and cloudy. The window got clear, but the quarterback does a good job riding out his fake, right? I think that's kind of the issues that you see against Navy and against any of these option teams. that quarterback does a good job, and now we're leaving nickels and safeties and corners to try to do the tackles. Again, not easy, but, and I think we're looking at the correct key right now, right? I think we're looking guard through the indicator, and we see it. We're okay over here. We don't need to worry about that. And I think that's one of those things, right? The Bill Belichick, do your job philosophy. We don't necessarily need to do somebody else's job for the defense to work out and to be good. You just need to do your assignment and trust that the other guys are doing their assignment. So, again, this is actually same drive, but again, talking about some of the positives, right? Some of the flashes I saw, it wasn't all bad, obviously. If they're going to rush 50 times and get 280-something yards, they were doing a lot right, but we were able to get some of these good plays, some of these stops. These are the encouraging plays that I think if we do these more consistently, we're going to be okay. We're able to avoid it. We're not really spilling it, but we are able to avoid the first kick-out block, and that really threw off the play. Again, watch it. You have double tight end. One of those guys is supposed to be the kick. One of those guys is supposed to be the lead. We do a great job of just sidestepping it in the middle. It's maybe not necessarily fundamentally sound, but it ends up working. Next play, again, very good job. Stop the inside. Get to the edge. Stretch it out. Watching our indicators again, right? Everything's up close. Everything's tight. What do we think they're going to be doing? Indicators going that way. And then again, what do I mean by the indicator? So again, slanted backfield, offset backfield. The back is up, right? The back is like side saddle to the quarterback. So the odds of it hitting straight downhill, like a midline inside veer, not super likely, just based on the position. He's usually going to have to come across, go across the face, or it's going to be speed option to the outside of it. So again, that's just one of those things, looking for backfield alignment along with the tight end alignment. So we see that. If we're looking to the play side, if we're looking across, what are they giving me? They're both fan. They're going out. It's going zone out that way, zone out that way. We do a good job beating it across. Lead is a great job. Slowing it down right there. And that's going to be another thing. It's not always on the linebackers. Something else we need to do is winning up front, winning these one-on-ones, helping get some of these reads a little bit cleaner for the linebackers. Again, force the field goal on that last drive, and then again, start out. Very good job. Stunt in the front. Watch him. We're going inside. Stunt the front. We beat him across face. Stop the cutback. So, again, I think that there's flashes. There's positive things out there. So it's not all bad. There's opportunities out there for us to get better. We're close. Right here. Jet. Right here's jet. We see it. I don't know if we're supposed to be rolling safeties. We don't roll anybody right now. Right? We just take it like it's a token fake. He's not outside. He's not coming down for it. And then we didn't rotate. On some of the other times I've seen us where we rotate it back and then we rotate down. But so one of the things that offenses are just getting very good at ultimately is making the defense wrong no matter what you do. Again, that's a lot of the same principles as the option game, whether read option, triple option. But zone is another one of the big ones where it's simple. They're not pulling guys, but what they're doing is they're letting you overrun the gap. Or if you don't get to the point, then they're going to try to beat you to it. This is the cutback, and this has been a killer for us all year, right? We saw K-State do it all over. You start over pursuing it, going across. Now it's cloudy. We can't necessarily see the window. We know that he's coming up here, and as soon as you start trying to over pursue over the top, then he wants to cut it back door. And again, that's where some of the other guys can help out. That's where on the line, if you squeeze it down thick enough, Peterson's doing a good job getting there. But if you squeeze it a little bit thicker and beat that tight end block, we can stop it. We can cut it off on the backside. But now here's on the front side of it where it actually hits. Again, they're going outside sweep, and then we don't get to the edge. It's our inability right now to be able to stop this edge. Right. Looking at last play, you can see going across, and then second. I mean, what changed? Touchdown. What changed is us just not doing what we need to do, right? We start looking for that cutback on the inside. We're going slow to flow. And then the ball starts rolling off the table, and by that time it's too late. So again, those are consistency issues that we talk about. Those are the types of things that are going to really decide, are we getting better at run stopping, or are teams just going to continue to run on us this year? And I think this is probably the weakest run defense we've seen in quite some time, maybe the worst that we've seen in the last 20 seasons. So that is obviously something that needs to be addressed as soon as possible. Again, so looking at the positive plays, I don't really love living and dying by the blitz. It's just never really been a philosophy of mine, but I know some guys are very aggressive. They like to be blitz heavy. And unfortunately, one of those things when you are undermanned, undermatched, you might start having to roll the dice a little bit more, right? And this time it works out positively. We're able to bring the edge, spike on the inside, take over the gaps, and then we also have outside too. Encouraging to see, Braden Marshall step in, freshman, getting a tackle for loss. And you just, obviously this is not something that he's here for. This is not something that you always want your nickels or your corners doing. But it is a nice job of stunting the front, starting to move some of the numbers, spike on the inside, taking the A, spike on the inside, then we're going to take the B, and then we're coming off the edge with the C gap. Ends up working out nice for a tackle for loss. So, to me, screens, a lot of the time, especially when you're looking at spread offense, screens are an extension of run. It's kind of an extension of outside run, outside sweeps, outside. Really, you're just trying to get the ball on the edge one-on-one. And again, this is where a lot of these pass yards came from. It wasn't necessarily throwing it vertical. It's throwing it, 12 yards laterally. And now we're going to end up breaking out for a long play right here. Again, it's been one of those issues where it's as soon as the ball gets out there and as soon as they make one guy miss, I mean, we're just not, to me, we're not following our keys too well right here, right? Watching our indicators. I mean, we see the guards rolling, right? If we're watching again, now we're looking at stacked backfield. I know they're not stacked immediately behind each other, but if we're looking at stacked, right, they're on the same side. It's not split. It's not slant anymore. What are the runs that we're going to see? It's probably going to be counter back this way with a running back counter, or we're going to see, potentially speed option lead up that way. But there's, only so many runs that you expect to see out of certain looks, certain just backfield alignments. If we are looking, again, to that front side and we're looking for that backside kick, we're looking for that backside counter, we see what they're doing right now. It's climbing. It's climbing. We're going over here, and we need to be pushing again with our keys, going over towards the field side, and then it ends up being a lot bigger play than it should have been. So looking at another touchdown play, still obviously 3-point ball game. We had our big turnover to start the half. This is one of those, you see it. I mean, basic, fairly basic offense. We run versions of this. Everybody, I think, in America now runs a version of zone read. We're watching our indicator, right? So slanted backfield. He's going across. We're thinking zone, right? But if you're the edge up here, if you're Traymon and you're not getting blocked and you're getting arced, if you're getting arced, then you're getting red. He's getting red. He starts going out there with the tight end or with the slider back. We had gotten burned on that. But again, do your job. Don't try to do too much. Corner has to bump out. Somebody has to be coming back with the slider. Traymon can't be doing it. And then it's just easy walk-in touchdown. If it's not going to be Traymon getting it, then somebody else has to come and get the quarterback then. If he's flying over the top, then we need somebody else filling. Again, one of those things, said we're looking at positives, right? Sean Peterson, the edge, stand-up edge right here. Again, they're coming back with the counter play. Watch this. We spill it and we vice it inside, and then we get it on the outside, right? Fill it. I think that's Jason coming from the inside. Then we're able to vice it right there. I'll live with that. I mean, if we can continue to do that to teams and they're not going to counter us to death all game, we can live with that. Just to wrap up on the defensive side of the ball, I think you guys can see, we did some positive stuff. We had some positive plays, but it was just too few, too little, too late. Just not enough. Again, consistency, I think, is going to be the biggest word I'm going to harp back on. Is just our inability to maybe necessarily do all of the small things that we need to do. Doing everything, again, this is just going back to really, it's following your keys, staying fundamentally sound, not trying to do the job for the other guy, right? Doing what you need to do. And I think that that's where we are going to get better on defense. This season, I don't know. This season, 8 games in, I don't know. But we've had flashes. We have opportunities. And so I do think that it can get better. So that's wrapping up on the defensive side of the ball. And then we're going to be coming back with an offensive video as well. Thank you guys so much.